I can't believe how many people are complaining about Raw right now. You're all a bunch of marks and it's embarrassing. This is the best angle WWE have done for years. It's so good that you've got people actually being worked by it. Just take a look at the message boards. Just take a look at how seriously people are taking this. I don't know whether to laugh or to be embarrassed for them. The complaints are that it's too repetitive, the same things happening every week with Daniel Bryan getting beat down. No shit, that's obviously what's going to happen when you've got Daniel Bryan going up against literally everyone that matters in the WWE. It would make no sense for anything other than that to happen. Now let me explain something to some of you. There's something in wrestling called storytelling, and this is exactly what that is. You can't tell a story within a couple of weeks. There has to be some sort of build, some sort of motive, some sort of story to what's happening. I don't know, I think some of you are so used to the shit WWE has served you for however many years it's been now, that whenever a good storyline like this comes along, you expect it to be resolved in 2 or 3 weeks. You just don't know how to react. Your brain doesn't know how to react to what you're getting at the minute. That's how much you're used to the ADD booking that you usually get from WWE. There's just no patience left with some people. All I have to say to you is, if all you're gonna do is complain, just stop watching. It's easier for you, and it's easier for people like me who are sick of you moaning. Anyway, now that I've got that out of the way, let's get to the show. It was a good opening segment, probably the best promo Orton's given since turning heel, but the one minor complaint I do have is, why is Daniel Bryan still smiling? After everything they've done to him, I'd like to see a little bit more intensity from Bryan. The big complaint I have from the show is, why did Triple H and Paul Heyman have to interact backstage? I just don't see how that was a good idea. You've got Triple H who's just turned heel, and he's trying to build himself as this evil dictator character. But then he sticks himself in a segment with arguably the most hated character in WWE right now. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, Triple H got cheered for the things he said to Paul Heyman, so why they thought that was a good idea is beyond me. If anyone should have interacted with Paul Heyman, it should have been Steph, and why that is because they seem to be building this good cop character for her, where she's still heel, but she's trying to make it seem like she's good. So having her facing off with Paul Heyman backstage would have been a good way to, you know, continue building that character she's got for her. I mean, they still got that building with her promo with Big Show, but if they insisted with an authority figure talking to Heyman, it should have been Steph instead of Triple H. Moving on to Orton's match with Rhodes is a very good TV match, and it showed how Orton's in-ring style continues to change since he's turned heel. Some will say it's boring, but it's completely necessary in my opinion, because you can't have Orton wrestling matches the same way he used to, because there's no way he'd get heat that way. Instead, he'd have the crowd behind him instead of the face he's going up against. But the way he's wrestling now works in the face's favour, as was shown last night with how much the crowd was behind Cody. Anyway, I liked how the match had a clean ending again, just like Orton vs Miz, as it continues to build Orton as a credible champion instead of your typical chicken shit heel who runs from every fight he's in. Now, since they're going with Cody being fired, I was sort of expecting Orton to punt him after the match, and was actually a bit disappointed that he didn't. But it made sense when we got to see Cody's segment after it. Now let me just say this, I think that's some of the best stuff we've seen from Cody so far. He sold it all perfectly, you know, bringing his family into it, how the McMahons apparently have had it in for him for the past 20 years now, and he's actually got me interested in seeing what he does when he comes back. When that is, I don't know, maybe like a month from now, seeing as I'm guessing he's taking time off to get married and go on his honeymoon. Moving on to the ending, again, it was great storytelling. Is it repetitive? Of course it's repetitive, but it's necessary. With the storyline they have at the minute, they have to build this corporation, or whatever you want to call them, as being a threat. And the only way they're going to do that is by showing them constantly getting the upper hand. Bryan has everyone against him at the minute. It only makes sense for him to be beaten down like this every week. It's called having a babyface in peril. It's called having a slow build to ultimately a big payoff. And if you can't see that, well, I guess you should just stop watching. Anyway, that's all I really have to say on the show. If you've disagreed with anything I've said, let me know in the comments. If you haven't, give me a thumbs up. And yeah, not much else to say, so thanks for watching.